When it comes down to building an aesthetic physique, you want a big chest, but it's not all you really want. Very quietly, I think just about every guy doesn't just want that big chest, but they want that perfect inner chest, right? I mean, you have it right now.
It's what separates the men from the boys, because a lot of newbies out there who are just beginning training, they do not have that mind-muscle connection. A lot of them are jumping on the bench press, and I know the bench press is important. It's important for strength development, but I also believe that after a period of time, you don't really gain that mind-muscle connection from just staying with that same movement over and over and over. You don't really get to experience what it feels like to do a movement with convergence, which is where you're bringing that weight to that center line of the body or even beyond. So when you start experiencing these different movements, you start realizing out there that, wow, like I felt that a little bit differently.
I think the thing people miss with the bench press is the actual function of what our pectoralis is supposed to do. Our chest's actual job is adduction. It's the act of driving that arm forward. If you have that extra chest muscle and we've gone through that full contraction, it's gonna translate to more power on the bench press, more power in athletic activities too, and the best part of it, it's gonna look badass.
Doing that same movement over and over, turning around and focusing on some new movements, I think it's gonna give your body a little bit of a rest. And you might even get stronger from it too.
Exactly, you're gonna have to lighten up the weight for everything we're gonna show you, because we wanna focus on the contraction, focus on what you're feeling as opposed to moving a whole ton of weight. It's gonna be all about time under tension and really understanding every piece of that contraction as we go through our top 5. Number 5 on our list is a very, very lightweight move. It's gonna throw you for a little bit of a loop like that. When we're really trying to attack inner chest, that we wanna think adduction and we wanna think time under tension. And this is a great way to start to build feel. We're gonna go to something called the squeeze plate press. And this is a move where it gets a bad rap because you're not moving any load. People are gonna say that the force curves are off and there's not enough tension. The load isn't the challenge, but it's all about mind-muscle connection and what you're feeling.
I feel like bodybuilders do a great job of this, and that's posing. So why do the bodybuilders pose? They pose to obviously get good at their skill, which is posing because they have to do this on stage, but they're also doing this for their conditioning. They're also posing to bring out hardness in the muscle. So when you take a squeeze plate press, you can start with a really light pair of plates, but all we're doing is we're taking these plates, we're trying to push our hands together, almost like posing, where we're trying to create as much tension as possible. And then while maintaining that position, we're going to extend our arms out while continuing to squeeze that inner chest, bringing it back in and back out. And after 2 reps, I'm feeling that heavily in my inner chest.
I could hear the strain in your voice from 2.5s, but it's less about the load here and it's more about the isometric tension that you're creating with just your body. The thing with this too is that it works really well for beginners because it's not about load. The moment I'm driving my hands together like this, I'm learning how to create that contraction. This is a very, very good beginner exercise. You can throw it at the beginning of a workout.
I would say, 1 to 2 sets of maybe 10 repetitions.
10 reps winds up being 30 to 40 seconds of time under tension. That's that sweet spot you want to be in. It's going to handle so much. So that's number 5.
All right, so number 4 on our list, a single arm cable fly past our midline, all right? And what do I love about this? Again, gaining that mind to muscle connection, having that level of tension where we're actually bringing that towards and actually beyond our midline, I think is a great way to really feel that contraction, really feel the area of the body that we're trying to work, which is the inner chest. It's way different than your traditional, horizontal press, but we're gaining so much benefit from training throughout this range of motion.
All we're trying to do with this fly is squeeze out a little more adduction, doing it single arm. That way we stay focused and build that mind muscle connection. It's crazy because just standing here and working through the motion, I feel it. Because we're working to create that tension, which is exactly what you've got to do on this fly. Exactly, so you're thinking slow across, make sure to keep the arm lengthened. Don't let yourself get too much bend in the elbow, then we're not gonna get as much tension on our chest. The thing is, squeeze your shoulder blade hard, and at the last moment, that's when you release your shoulder blade and finish out that squeeze. And that's how you're gonna get that really, really great chest squeeze. That's how we're gonna get the focus. And that's why this is number 4, but such a great mind muscle move.
When you see that person who's got that well-developed inner chest and they got those nice round pecs, I mean, it sounds funny, but it really is pleasing to look at.
It's so true too. I mean,
you see a guy walk out with his shirt off and he's got develop pecs, you're like, oh wow, like look at this person, he puts the time in.
Number 3 on our list, and now we're starting to pair that mind-muscle connection that we built on 5 and 4 with a little bit of load. We're gonna go to a move that I think is a little bit more advanced. You really wanna make sure that you have good shoulder health for this and that you can really find external rotation. We're gonna go to something called the hex press. This is a squeeze press. So now we have the load pressing out in front of us while we're still creating that nice tight tension via dumbbell.
We're laying down here. So this is gonna emulate the flat dumbbell press. It really is somewhat challenging because you can very easily start pressing the weight up, but to get full benefit from this, you want to incorporate a lot of what we've taught you from the squeeze press. So you're literally fighting the weight against each other, running in line towards the body, and then you're pressing, which is typically what we always do in a dumbbell press or a bench press. So I really feel like that we're getting more bang for our buck here. Inner chest, we're also gonna be hitting the shoulders and the triceps a bunch because we are in so tight to the body.
So it should be slow, controlled reps. If you're loading up weight and you can pick up the exact same dumbbells you can pick up when you're doing a standard dumbbell press, you're going too heavy and you're not earning that squeeze, which is key.
I love these movements right now because it's taking a lot of you out there who've had a difficult time developing a good full chest. And now we're enabling you to learn how to contract that area of the body more efficiently.
I like this as a 3rd or 4th exercise. 3 sets of 10 to 12 quality reps, focus on quality. You're gonna start to see the inner chest develop. We're through 3 motions, let's hit the last 2.
All right, guys, number 2 in developing a strong inner chest, a machine press with convergence. So what is convergence? That's allowing the machine or allowing any weight that we're using to come closer or come towards that midline while maintaining a level of tension. Now, machines have taken such a bad rap for so many years from a lot of you functional purists out there, but there is so much value to a machine as we fatigue. There's so much benefit in creating hypertrophy. I just feel like this machine actually brings a little bit more bang for your buck.
Exactly, it is key to find that right machine press, because if you find the machine press where we're static and our arms are just going forward, that's just gonna be your standard press and you're not gonna really hit that complete chest. But what we're looking for, like Don says, anything where we're starting to get, we're still trying to hit that idea of adduction.
What that means is put your hands up. So as he's almost pressing in, he's almost pushing against my hand. That's what convergence is. So as he's pressing and pushing in, he's creating tension down that midline.
That same idea that we were doing on the squeeze press, on the hex press, but now we can go heavier. While we're moving that heavy load, instead of having to worry about all the stability, because we're doing it with dumbbells, when we find that perfect machine press, then we can really focus on the contraction.
I love to start with those traditional lifts, whether it's the bench press or something that's requiring a lot of neuromuscular coordination, a lot of balance and stability. And then as I'm fatiguing, developing a lot of lactic acid buildup, at that point, it becomes a little bit more of this cruise control approach where I can get on the machine now. I'm not saying it's doing the work for me, but I don't have to worry about all that stability. I don't have to worry about all that balance and functionality. I'm still able to develop this high level of hypertrophy, but safely, and to be honest with you, more effectively. I feel like I can actually focus more on the muscle while I'm on that machine.
Exactly, because this is something you can hit for higher reps. You can do, say, 3 sets of 12 to 15. Fits in really, really well at the end of the workout. And our ultimate move for inner chest, we wanted to find something that's gonna let us load, because that's something we wanna try to do aggressively, and at the same time allow us to attack that convergence moment. So our ultimate inner chest move does that. It is the banded dumbbell press.
Hey, listen, we don't want to go with a heavy set of bands here. Yeah. This is typically maybe an orange or the black bands, which are super thin. It could be wrapped underneath the bench. It could be wrapped behind your back. But the idea is to really grab those bands in each hand while you're holding those dumbbells. And as you are going through the range of motion, because we're stretching those bands out, we're going to create more tension towards lockout. And this is not a movement where our egos are going to be in check a little bit, because we're not going to be able to do the weight that we would normally be doing with our traditional dumbbell press. So I think from a psychological standpoint, because you're going to be doing less weight, you're probably going to take a little bit less. You're probably going to go in there, you're going to check your ego at the door a bit, and you're really just going to focus on the movement and the contraction, which is what we really need to be doing to create that inner chest.
Exactly. What happens at the top of a standard dumbbell press is once our joints stack, once my wrist, elbow, and shoulder stack, suddenly I don't have to work. So I get a very brief rest, if you will, at the top of every single traditional dumbbell press. But what's great about this is because of those bands, once I get to the top of my press, I have to keep working. My chest has to keep working, and that has to be the main driver of the movement. So that's why this winds up doing such a great job of attacking your chest. But it's definitely advanced though, I think, to some extent. You wanna master the other 4 moves, especially our moves 4 and 5 first before you start to get into this idea.
And I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't assign this to someone unless they were more advanced. But once in a while, if you're coming to the gym and you're feeling a little bit stale and you're like, you know what, this is feeling a little monotonous, I like throwing in little variables like this because now it's keeping the training fun. And you might even connect the muscles of the chest or other body parts you can also train with bands a little bit differently.
Exactly. This one is great. I think it's like, what, 3 or 4 sets, 8 to 10 reps, 8 to 12 reps.
I think staying in that hypertrophic range of motion, I think is fantastic.
The entire moral of the story when it comes to training your inner chest and attacking your inner chest is this idea of feel it, of let's back down on the weight a little bit, let's own the contraction, and the 5 exercises we've given you, you have no choice but to back down the weight, to dominate the contraction, and that's gonna get you the inner chest that you want.